Punches are the absolute best for creating quick and easy tags, especially for greetings on your card projects. But at least for me, I know a lot of times I don't have a punch that's the right size or shape for the greeting that I want to use. Today I want to show you how to use the punches in your collection to punch out different sizes and shapes than the size and shape they were designed to create. I'm Anna Helman. Thanks so much for being here today. Let's get started. I have an assortment of greetings here that I have stamped, and I have an assortment of punches, as you can see. But as you can also see, these aren't really the right sizes and shapes for very many of my greetings, are they? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to punch all of these using these and get the exact size and shape that you want. Let's start with these small and narrow greetings. I don't know about you, I use a lot of these really small, simple greetings on my card projects. Now I do have a punch in my collection that is designed to create cute ends on tags like this. This is called the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch, and I'll use it real quick on this one. So we get a cute little end on it, and I have several options. But let's say you don't have a punch like this, or you just want to branch out and use the punches you have, create some different shapes. I'm going to show you a couple of punches and ways to use them. So this is called the To the Point label punch. And the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to do this several times on this. Instead of inserting your paper through the normal slot where you would, we are going to put the paper over top and then insert it into the groove where the paper would normally be. And here you can play around with where you line it up and how you're going to cut. So let's say you want a cute end like this, a little point. We can create a point on one end, and I'll slide in this other end and do the other side. Okay, so there is a little tag with a cute end. Let's do this again. I'm going to do it here on this decorative part of the punch. You'll see some funny greetings here. These are from a stamp set called Not 29 Anymore. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought I would stamp these today, and I'm going to cut a little bit off of this, make it a little bit shorter. Depending on the part of the punch you are using, you may have to shorten it up a little bit just to get it to fit. I have an extra piece there floating around, but that's okay. So here I got this cute little edge from the decorative area at the top and the bottom of this punch. So you're going to start to see like, oh, you can start to look at your punches in a new way with this. Let's bring in another one. This one is called the Sweetest Star. We're going to do the same idea on these two. And then I have some other ideas for how to punch bigger and smaller sizes than what your punches were created to do. So for this one, we'll create like a little banner end with that inner part of the star. That looks really cute. Now let's use, we could use the outer part of the star. This is going to create one a lot like that first one we created. But I grabbed a lot of different punches just to give you an idea of how many different ways you can do this to create different looks on your greeting tags. Now let's look at one here. I pulled this stamp from a different one. I needed a really big one. This is from a stamp set called Layered Thoughts. And I wanted to show you what to do. I want to punch it with this punch, but it's not big enough, is it? So here's what I did. I cut the paper slightly narrower than how wide the punch is here. And I'm going to do basically the same thing I just did on those others. I am going to slide the paper over top of the punch and then into that groove. And then I can punch to get that rounded end on both ends. but have it a lot larger than it was originally. Pretty cool, right? Okay, let's make one smaller. Here's one. This is a punch called Labeled with Love, and I stamped this greeting on, but I thought it was going to have a little bit of too much white space there. I wanted to make it smaller to show you how we can do this. Now, when you're sliding these in, we're going to punch off some more of that, but a piece of Post-it note can be really helpful with this. So I'm going to add that Post-it note on. For this one, I can slide it in the normal way. I don't have to go through the top. And line it up where I want. And now I have that tag with the same shapes on the corners, but it's smaller. You can do this with ovals. You can do this with so many of your punches. That would be a perfect technique to use with this one if you liked the decoration on the top and the bottom, but you want it to be narrower and not so square in shape. Okay, I have two more to show you. And these are ideas for bigger, kind of getting decorative ends on your pieces, but with bigger ones. So this is a punch called Heartfelt Hexagon. I just punched this on a piece of cardstock that seemed like it was the right size and thought, okay, well, what punch do I want to use to punch this out? Just thought I would show you an idea for this, where I'm going to punch and get that shape on the end. Let's do the other one so we can see how it comes out. So there we have a nice little tag with an interesting shape. And last but not least, I don't want to leave out the circle punches. Circle punches are amazing. You can do so many things with them. And for this one, I could have cut it a little bit wider. You can see there's still a little bit of space at the top and the bottom of the punch for a wider piece of paper. But this is just going to show us how we can get a nice rounded end using just a circle punch. I think those are pretty handy tricks, so I hope you can use that and that it's helpful for you in your crafting. Then in my videos, we always chat. It's been a while since I've talked about the diet I had been on and still sort of am on. I thought I'd give you a little update. So several years ago, I found information about a diet called the GAPS diet on a food blog website that I like the woman who does it. I trust the things she says. She talked about the GAPS diet, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. I've never heard of that. And the first thing I read about it on her website was that it has healed children with autism, that their parents have put them on this diet, and autism went away. And I'm like, well, that sounds made up, but I'm really intrigued. So I got one of the books that the doctor who's kind of like the ringleader for this diet, I got the book, I read all about it, told me my whole life story. I could look of what wrong with me, random health problems. I was just getting tired of feeling bad and various like nutrient deficiencies and assortment of things. But as I read the book, everything made sense to me. I could look back through the generations in my family and the health problems that totally changed in each generation, but things were getting worse generationally. My daughter was born with eczema. I gave it to her. She's the worst one yet. Anyway, everything just made sense. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go on this diet. It wasn't a forever diet, it was a temporary diet to heal your gut, to heal your digestive system. If you're unfamiliar with this idea, seems like basically all of our wellness is coming from our digestive systems, the food we eat, the things we put in our body. It's so important. We take way too many antibiotics, a lot of us. I think that was a lot of my problems from when I was a kid. Not enough probiotics, all the weird chemicals and stuff we're exposed to, like all of these things are adding up. And if we haven't noticed, being sick seems like the new normal. And I just was like, okay, I'm not old enough to feel this bad all the time. I'm tired of this. So I decided to go on this diet. My daughter decided to do it with me. She had some food intolerances with eczema. Fast forward, my daughter did it for over a year, maybe closer to a year and a half before she started cheating, and I didn't know it. Anyway, we were able to heal her of her intolerance of eggs and dairy products, which is amazing. I think she still has one more food intolerance that we were not able to fix. She was tired of the diet. I'm not going to force her to do it. I can't force her to do it. She goes places without me. She can choose what she puts in her body. Anyway, but I'm so happy we were able to heal the egg and the dairy intolerance for her. I had been on it for basically 2.5 years here. Back in the winter, spring, I realized I hadn't been doing some things right. Someone who had advised me at the beginning advised me incorrectly, so I figured out some things. I kind of started over with the intro part of it where you go back to eating soup and extremely easy to digest foods. And I did that for a while because a lot of healing goes on during that process. Anyway, I did that. I ended up, for other reasons, doing some fasting this spring. I did kind of an extended fast this summer, longer than, yeah, it lasted a while. Uh, and fasting is extremely healing for our bodies. If you're not aware of that, it actually, there's a chapter in, I think it's in the book of Isaiah in the Bible. The whole chapter is about fasting. And it says right there, fast and I will heal you, or your body will be healed, or something. Anyway, so fasting has healed lots of people of incurable things, just like this GAPS diet. There's things that our medical system will say you can't really do anything about, or take this pill and maybe you'll feel better, but it's never going to go away. People are healing themselves of all kinds of these things by changing what they put in their bodies. Fascinating, right? So, I changed some of what I did. I was fasting this summer. After this fast, I ended up at an event. Normally, I would like plan ahead and take some food or something, so I knew I would have something to eat. And I got there and I was like, oh, there's like nothing that I can eat. So I'm looking around and I just felt like I was supposed to start eating all of it. Just start eating all of it. And I started eating all of it. And normally, if my body didn't like a food, this like the whole diet, this whole diet is just fascinating. Your body becomes its own doctor, and it tells you, I like this food or I don't like this food. And different people respond differently. And as your body heals, then you can eat more and more foods. So anyway, this particular day, I felt like I was supposed to start eating the food. So I very cautiously started eating more foods, and my stomach didn't hurt. Normally, within like 15 seconds, if I didn't like a food, my stomach would tell me. I just start eating all the foods and all the foods. And probably 9 months ago, if I would have eaten a crumb of a piece of bread, my stomach would grumble and my stomach would tell me I don't like that. Well, in at the beginning of August, I guess this was the beginning of August, I started eating all these different foods cautiously. Like I said, I ate pretty much some of everything that day. I had fried chicken, I had desserts, I had bread, I had all the things. Now, on the diet, what was I eating? I was eating meat, vegetables, fruit, homemade cultured dairy, store-bought dairy. Not the same thing. It's not. I had tried little bits at different times, and my stomach did not like them. It could tell the difference when there's weird ingredients in there. So anyway, this day I ate all the things, and I felt perfectly fine. And I'm still kind of I'm still kind of trying to adjust to this whole idea. So what am I eating now? I'm still eating a lot of the same foods I was on the diet. For the most part, I'm eating those foods. I've introduced grain products that are easier to digest. That back in the day when people ate grains and legumes, they kind of pre-digested them. They're hard to digest. Nature made them hard to break down, but by design, like the seed needs perfect. I'm getting stumbled up here. The seed needs perfect conditions to go in the ground and to sprout. So it has like a really hard seed coat, is not made to be easy to break down. It's hard for our bodies to break them down. So back in the day, beans would be like soaked for a while before they would be eaten. Same thing with grains. They would either be soaked, they would be turned into like sourdough, which pre-digests them, or what is the other one? Soaked, sprouted, or sourdough, I think, are the ones that typically this was done to grains and legumes back in the day. So anyway, I'm eating some of those types of things. I do eat whatever dessert and no, no, I don't know, whatever I want that's not on the diet. Some my stomach reacts sometimes. I find it interesting. One of the things that my stomach seemed to not like after this was I call them the weird oils. All of these oils that are apparently terrible for us, like vegetable oil and canola oil, soybean oil, all the seed oils, the things that think that foods are typically fried in, those types of oils. Um, except for Steak and Shake, they got the fries fried in tallow, which the tallow, which is beef fat, lard. Those are the types of fats, oils I've been using to cook for a long time. Since I started the diet, because they are stable at high temperatures. They are supposed to be safer for us. And heart disease comes from too many carbs, is my understanding, too many refined carbs like white flour. Probably sugar is included in that, I'm not sure. But anyway, I could ramble for days. I have learned so much about natural healing, and it just kind of fascinates me. I decided at some point that if I didn't have anything else to do, I would go back to school and get some kind of certification in holistic wellness, natural healing, something of that sort. I doubt that I'll ever do it, but it's just something I've taken a lot of interest in. I've learned a lot, read a lot of books, and yeah, I don't want people to be sick, so I try to share these things and hope that someone can learn something that may help you to feel better as well. So that's what I got for today. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to handmake with love.